So let's focus on a character which a lot of people are looking forward to, right? Because as it stands right now, oh my goodness, the amount of negativity I am seeing for the September update that's going to be happening in what? Next week actually. Oh damn! Wait, yeah. Oh my god, I didn't realize that. Damn. Okay, so it's nearly time for the girls to drop, of course. But my goodness, the amount of posts and whatnot, and you know, people just giving their thoughts and opinions on the two girls releasing, of course. Yeah, I'm genuinely going to be surprised. If anything, I want to see what the revenue mark will be for that period for Solo Leveling Arise, because I feel like not many people are actually really going to be. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But let me tell you, there's a lot of negativity going on towards the two girls. So, Christ Almighty, the amount of stuff that I've been seeing. But let's just kind of put that to one side. I might have to come back to that in just in a separate video. But let's focus on what a lot of people are focusing on and what majority are going to be saving for, and that is Thomas. Right? We've already been teased. We know that in upcoming developer live streams and whatnot, they're going to talk furthermore from him. Oh, sorry, about him. Hopefully they show his model and whatnot. That'd be pretty sick if they do that. But this is pretty much the main attraction that many of us have been waiting for. Now, again, for the most part, we thought that because of where the storyline is going with the Leveling Rise and whatnot, that more than likely he was going to be releasing in early 2025. It makes sense, especially with December. It kind of bringing in the Jeju Island, of course. So either way, we're getting him early. We are getting Thomas early. So it begs the question, and ultimately this is the truth, who is he going to replace? Now, before we get ahead of ourselves, I just kind of want to also look over the timeline of things. So September 12th, so clearly he's going to be half anniversary, right? Half anniversary, technically speaking, falls in line with November. But with how they do their update schedule, I feel like he's going to be dropping in October. That's going to be a bit of an awkward one. So 12th of September is when we get the two girls. And then in 3 weeks' time, so in the beginning of October, we get Gina, right? So then, yeah, okay, now that works perfectly. So pretty much end of October to the beginning of November, that is probably when we are going to be expecting Thomas. Yeah, okay, so that fits quite nicely in terms of it fitting with the half anniversary. So yeah, 100% half anniversary is... because then that then falls in line with the content that they've got lined up for... wait, hold on a minute. So, twins, or the two girls, Gina, then it's Thomas, and then whoever the new hunter is going to be, which could be Kaneo, of course, and then Gotoruji. So that'll be a double banner, of course. Okay, yeah, so that makes sense. I just kind of wanted to go over that so that way, if they choose to keep this timeline, then they can do so. Okay, so let's break it down a little bit. What do we think Thomas is going to be doing? Because if you really look at where everything is falling in line with, we're practically done. We are finished, right? Wind is sorted. Light is complete. Water is perfected. Dark is soon to be done up quite nicely, because Dark is next, of course. We'll get onto Dark in just a second. And Fire is slightly missing something, but it doesn't fit on what Thomas would be. So let's focus on Fire quickly, right? Do I think he's going to be a Fire element? I mean, he could be. But the thing with me is, I'm looking at Thomas more into a DPS character. Could they push him over to the breakage side? Yeah, possibly, maybe, right? But the thing that Fire element needs right now, in my eyes, is support. That's it. Once we get the support for Fire, we're good, because we've already got the power, we've already got the breakage. Well, Emma does so much. She's a fantastic character, right? She covers, she's like, covering all areas. So like, even though I say a breaker, there's DPS, there's support. Like, she's doing a ton of things. But once we get that nice little support character for the whole team, or for the two girls, then we're kind of good. Choi, I love you and all, but your defense decrease is beautiful, but the developers did you dirty, my guy. So that's kind of where Fire is at right now. So that's why I say I don't think he's going to be Fire. Now, he could be, and it'll be fairly interesting, because again, he's going to be a hard replacement in my eyes. And then, of course, with Dark, we're getting a DPS, right? and we're getting a support. Now, truth be told, the way it's going to be looking for Dark is it's going to be the two twins and Libora. Obviously, that's going to be the case. Unless we heavily need breakage, then of course Lim will come into play, of course. Now, can Thomas be a breaker? Absolutely. In my eyes, I do feel like that he could very well be a breaker. I would say that he might need to kind of do, or kind of surpass more with what Go is providing. So I'm expecting some crazy amount of, well, not crazy amount, but I'm expecting Almighty Break to be accessible on his kit, right? Through his skills. Not his ultimate, not being a pay-to-win passive, right? I'm expecting his initial kit to be really solid, right? Especially if it's a half anniversary character, and especially if it's goddamn Thomas, right? National level hunter, #1, etc., right? It's just, it has to happen. So with all that being said, in a breakage side of things, could I see him being a dark breaker? Yes. Now here's the thing, right? We're gonna get the two girls that are releasing on the 12th of September. Alpha has mentioned to say that Gina is going to be releasing after them, so being in October, of course. And what they could do is they could make it so that the Dark Element gets a back-to-back update, which actually won't be a bad thing, because then that gives you 6 weeks of, a huge gap of time to actually solidify the Dark Element. Because, I mean, realistically, if you look at it how they did with Water typing by having Alicia drop, then Mei Lin, it gave us that good chunk of time to actually perfect the Water Element. Like right now, my Water Element is by far the best element that I have on my account. With the amount of time I've actually put into it, of course, with these specific characters, and just catering on perfecting and getting the right gear sets for them, of course. So, like, ultimately, if I need to do any type of runs and whatnot, you know, the Water Element is, for me, is my go-to team, right? So I think that's one of the benefits if they do that with Gina, if they make her the Dark Breaker. So you've got the two girls who are going to be attacking DPS. Gina comes in and she plays the breaker role. So then ultimately that then leaves, realistically, the only typing that we really need to be catered to, so that way everything is complete and done and dusted, is fire support. And he's not going to be fire support. Ain't going to happen. So that's why I say, who is he going to replace? I wholeheartedly believe that he is going to be a DPS character. I think he's going to be an attacking character. Unless they give us a version of him that's more on the defensive side, hence why I say breaker. And then later down the line, when we get a version of him that goes toe-to-toe with Sun Jin Woo, following the storyline, that is when we get the offensive transformation side of Thomas. Right? Now, Thomas is a seller. He's going to sell hard. He is a money character. He will bring in the cash, no doubt in my mind. Hence why I say that's what they could do to split him up. We're not going to get the full potential version of him, but we're going to get a crazy breaker. And so, if that is the case, then I think Dark... Because, I mean, on top of that, Alpha did say, oh, Dark Element, you know, it's going to be like a crazy buffed up meta. They're going to be the next meta and whatnot. So by getting the two girls that are working with one another, and God knows what they're going to be doing, it's probably something crazy, since every character that they release are doing something crazy, right? I expect them to be somewhat insane, and then to have Thomas to be their breaker, that is the half anniversary. I think that sounds like a good plan. Well, a plan which I feel like they might go with, of course. And then, as I've suggested, following the timeline, we get that offensive version of Thomas later down the line, following the storyline, as I've said. But they're catering to giving us Thomas now, because of course we did request him to be available early on, right through the voting poll system, of course. So with that being said, that's what I'm going to go with, and I'm expecting him to be better than Go in terms of celebration worthy, of course. In terms of DPS, okay, let's forget about tankage, right? Because ultimately, I feel like a lot of people are leaning towards to say that, oh, he might be light. And if that is the case, he's 100% going to be replacing Char. 100%. Right? Clearly, because if he's taking that attacking role, because they're not going to just be like, hey, 2 months later, we're going to give you a better like tank. Just that doesn't make sense, right? So Go's going to be here for quite some time. And so from that, I think if they choose to go and keep with what a lot of people are saying, to say that, oh, he's definitely going to be light. Because at a certain point, I was leaning towards to say, oh, maybe he's wind. But then Amamiya actually could... I mean, technically, if he goes wind, I mean, I feel like wind can also get a breaker too. But to give my final layout on how they should do things, drop the 2 girls, give us the support and give us the DPS. Gina drops as a fire support, although that's going to be kind of awkward for her, I'll admit. Maybe make her in an offensive support. Maybe. I think that could potentially fit, right? Possibly. I might go back on my word on that one. That then leads Thomas. Go down that route of giving us not the full potential of Thomas so that we get that Dark Breaker, so that way that completely elevates Dark to a whole new meta, to then cater to the more offensive version of Thomas where he goes toe-to-toe with Sun Jin-woo at a later time, right? And again, they can probably set that up for another celebration time, of course, if there's a massive milestone that we hit, of course, next year or whatever, right? They can figure it out. Maybe like New Year's, starting off, well, I mean, that will be too close together. Yeah, I mean, they can figure it out. I mean, first anniversary, I mean, that could work. Anyway, yeah, so I think that's kind of where I'm at right now with my mindset and what I'm trying to figure out and what I'm just going to put out there. But what do we all think? He's going to be DPS, isn't he? Oh my god, he's 100% going to... Nah, surely not.